I will show the possibilities on what I've able to achieve on Raspberry Pi Pico uh, with Jupyter notebook. तो सबसे पहले I've opened my Jupyter notebook over here. So this is a Pico playground. इसमें as you can see, first I'll open my home. मेरे पास दो kernels हैं, दो notebook options हैं. एक है Python 3 वाला, which is the standard I use, and the second one is this MicroPython kernel, which was for ESP32. उसमें कुछ थोड़े से changes करके I'm able to run Pico over here. So firstly I'll show कि कैसे connect हो रहा है. तो दिस इज़ दी सीरियल कनेक्ट कमांड जो हमें लिखनी होती है वंस आई सेट अप माई प्ले ग्राउंड. तो व्हेन आई रन दिस वन मेरे को बता रहा है कि ऑन दिस पोर्ट विच इज़ द नेम फॉर रास्पबेरी पाई पिको इट सेज कि ठीक है योर माइक्रो पाइथन इज़ रेडी टू बी यूज्ड, राइट. आई कैन डू वन थिंग लाइक वन स्टैंडर्ड import command for using MicroPython, which is import machine. I can see वो import हो रहा है. Over here, when a command gets successfully executed, at least this cell gets executed. वो मेरे को यहाँ पे it shows me with a number that okay it has run or not, right. So this has worked. Let's do one thing because we know कि NumPy and Matplotlib are kind of like uh, heavy libraries which cannot be used with MicroPython. उनका size काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. So it says that no module name NumPy or would be the same for Matplotlib. So let's say if I have to do physical computing, I obviously need both of these libraries, and in addition it might be key we also need pandas to convert data from one form to another, or easily use any data type and convert it to, let's say, JSON or something, if I have to do something similar to that. Firstly pehle let's see ki after importing machines I know it is on 125 megahertz. Before going into using NumPy in the same workspace, I'll firstly toggle my LED. Before that I'll just remove this snippet of code, इसमें डाल देता हूँ. When I write from machine import pin on pin 25, I have defined output. When I do it over here, my LED is toggling. I will do it again. It just got off, and then when I do this one, तो वो blink होती है. At the same time, जब ये हो रहा है, I'll put another video which will show that it was happening at the same time, right? Okay. So let's just proceed. Let's say मेरे को अगर NumPy and Matplotlib करना है. So right now it will say that it's invalid syntax or whatever. It does not recognize these commands. But when I use this MicroPython kernel on Jupyter notebook, if I type in local, now this cell would run through Python 3. As you can see, यहाँ पे मेरा ये plot आ गया. So what has happened is whenever I write %local in any cell, it does not get executed in this MicroPython kernel. Rather, it got executed in the standard, which is the Python 3 kernel that I have set. So when for everyone at default the standard is Python 3, so no one has to actually worry about कि local कैसे set करें, कौन से वाले kernel को करना है. So we won't have to think much about it. The only thing is कि we just have to install MicroPython kernel. Once I'm done with that, we can go on these commands later on. We have this R shell. इसको भी we'll go later on. Firstly, what I'm going to do is using that local command. Firstly, I'll set my directory as this place. So if I open, I can show what it is. I made a test folder which is right now empty, right? And then we'll check, okay, what happens. So firstly, either I can ls, and it shows me कि कुछ नहीं है, so it's not gonna give me any output. So right now I made this one small code where I've imported math and time and the pin just to realize कि हाँ Raspberry Pico is connected. So in this function, what I'm doing is I will have this loop, okay, and then I will print math of sine n to I, which is basically sine 2x, and I'll also print out I. I'll give it a delay of, let's say, tm seconds. वो मैं बाद में enter करूँगा. So this is the standard syntax where what I do is I write %log data I say x and y. Let's say एक और वेरिएबल होता मेरा यहाँ पे, like इधर मैं एक ये प्रिंट आउट करवा रहा हूँ, then I gave a comma and then I did this as a print out, right? अगर मेरा यहाँ पे एक और कुछ होता, let's say I can be like firstly I'll give a comma and उसके बाद I can be like 2 into y something like that. तो मैं यहाँ पे x y z कर देता या w कर देता और whatever. I can then also use it. पहले मैं ऐसे ही दिखा देता हूँ. Okay, so once I run this I would have to run it once in a, I have to restart. I think connection has to be executed. So this happens sometimes with Pico. तो like थोड़े टाइम के लिए अगर वेट कर लेते हैं तो I have to reset the connection. Now this has got executed. So now what I'll do is I'll run this file. Now this has stopped because log data does not work without executing devlog. So I'll tell what devlog is. Abhi empty आया. Now if I will execute it, now it should work. Right, I got this 4 values. I can go and change it to 40 and वो change हो गया. Now if I'll check my devlog तो मेरा काफ़ी सारी values आ गई हैं. Right now I'll just plot it with this same which is dev plot and it gave me something like this, right? एक काम करते हैं, because it is not intelligible, I'll do I divide by 100. I'll tell you what's happening. Okay, it got executed. I can check the devlog. Yes, everything is divided now. So now I'll plot. It should look. So this is the output that I'm getting. Now whatever plot that I've got, what I can do is I can go to the percentage local and be like figure.c figure and I've named it accplot.png, right? दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि in local only my dev log, I'll come to it. पहले मैं एक बार ये कर देता हूँ. So os path और json import करके मैंने test file नाम दिया. I gave it a location, called it csv and I started a file and then I wrote it through json.dumps. So if I execute it, now if I'll check my folder, I have 2 things. Number one is the plot in my local directory and the second as is opening is the csv file that we just created using this cell, right? So now if I change it to like, it'll just work क्योंकि वो json import कर लिया तो you can do anything with it, आप txt या जो भी बनाना है. So I'm getting all the sorry values. Okay, so मैं थोड़ा सा explain कर देता हूँ. First I'll reduce the number. I'll just have 4 values outside. Okay, now it is smaller, so now it's more readable, right? तो मैंने क्या किया, what I want to do is मैं चाह रहा था कि file handling को हम लोग थोड़ा explore कर सकें using Pico. So अभी फ़िलहाल our problem might be कि let's say we are getting some ADC value, but now we want to save it in some way or the other so that it's not just interactive. We should be able to work around with that data. We should have the ability to save it so that हम लोग उसे use कर सकें. Also I have to check कि कितना fast it can work and we can play around with data. What is the fastest rate I can get the right values, right? I think अभी जो sign का plot आ रहा है, it is not good enough. As you can see, this is how it looks like. So that has to be changed, but I'm taking I as an integer. I'll create the sign function again and उसको we can do it. पहले मैं इस पे आ जाता हूँ. So what I'm doing here is मेरे को बस एक function बनाना होगा like for any ADC value. Let's say I'll just define it. I'll import all the pins. I'll define कि कैसे read करना है. I'll write percentage log data. So log data, what it does is it logs the data on the console. So console over here is on my local. So I'll proceed. तो पहले local I'll define the variables किस में क्या स्टोर होगा. तो पहला डेटा कॉमा इज द डिलिमिटर एट स्टैंडर्ड. वी कैन चेंज इट बट उसके लिए वो कर्नल को रीराइट करना, मतलब आई थिंक नॉट चेंजिंग इट इज़ अ बेटर ऑप्शन. तो वंस यू डू दैट you get the first variable, the second variable, and then you have this tm as for the time, right, and u is for the y-axis. Okay. uh, when I write this function, so now what it has done is it says frequency is none, time is 10 millisecond, name is test plot y-axis. This is what I've given. उससे interesting चीज़ ये है कि for x these are the values, first, second, third and fourth. For y these are the corresponding values which were what I defined over here. So let's say if I'm getting some ADC values, I can print them out at the same time when I'm getting it. Like I read some ADC value, I'll just print it out, right, and then I'll just use percentage log data, and then I can call that function in the next line. तो वो मेरे सेव हो जाएगा x and y में, right. Once I do that, now when I do devlog, it says me devlog isn't defined because devlog is at the local PC. It's not happening at MicroPython. वो automatically it handles to bring to my local PC. तो I just when I write devlog, developers log, so it shows me कि x की value ये है, y की value ये है in a JSON format, and it is telling me कि okay, we have just two variables which are coming in, and this is TS is 0, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, right. Okay, so when I do that, now the next thing is when I write percentage dev plot, it automatically plots my data from x-axis पे time, which is the TS, and y-axis पे it took this x, so-called x value, right. And the second variable is also plotted against time only, which happened to be y. So we can see 0.1, 0.0, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03 had a straight line, and for x I had somewhat not a very good sine wave. I would change it and try it again. In the code, एक मिनट कहाँ गया ये रहा. So मैंने mat.sin n into 2 into y जो किया है, उसमें जो मेरे स्टेप्स हैं वो बहुत कम है. मेरे को I need more closer points, तो I just divided it by 200. So when I log this, it just got timed out. ठीक है, let me interrupt the kernel. Now it should work. devlog मेरा populate हो गया, नीचे मेरा plot looks like this. ठीक है, so now it's a lot better. And if I'll see over the plot, तो उसने rewrite कर दिया and it gave me the correct way I'm getting the data is concerned. I personally think getting data in it is more of a feature than a bug. So we can obviously, once we are in Python, so we can always use string manipulation or slicing and things like that to get these out. Like if I just want one variable, I can get it out. This is how it is. Yeah. So I think I'm able to get that data using MicroPython in my local. So for physical computing, let's say I am getting some sensor value, I can just use this percentage log data. I can define the x, y, and the tm, and once I do that, I just call that function, which will run it for some time and then give me the values. I can have them over here, and then I can get them in local devlog. Once I have it here मैंने उसे I've saved it on a txt file on my local laptop. So this is more or less the complete demo of what I've been able to do with Pico.